Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again. In today's video, a new neighbor constantly trespasses on my property, and one time she catches me naked in my jacuzzi. She promptly calls the cops on me and she claims I assaulted her. This woman tries to ruin my life and I honestly don't know what to do. Here is what happened. Okay, so this is a nightmare that I went through when I used to live in Norway. My neighborhood is not necessarily big by any means, which is not all that bad considering the crime rates are extremely low, to the point that people here usually don't lock their doors. Now, you might be wondering why this little piece of information is important. And well, when I was new here, I did not know about the open door policy and used to freak out when strangers would just walk inside my neighbor's house. When I confronted them, they helpfully explained to me their situation and even assured me that it is an unspoken law that only those who are allowed to enter a property should enter. So then, loaded with this new knowledge, I also decided to follow suit. This whole arrangement was going well until a new family moved in the neighborhood. And the whole reason I even knew they moved in is because their children were shouting like they were being murdered right then and there. Me and my neighbor, who were trying to enjoy a movie, gave each other looks of sympathy because we both knew who exactly had moved in near us. The Karen. A week passed by and this family had finally settled in. Nothing happened until the day when I came back from work and found the door of my house open. Now, it was not unusual for my neighbor to drop by for some groceries or to simply watch a movie, but he never left the door open and he was also surely not home because he came later than me. I am instantly on alert and before slowly going inside my house, and lo and behold, who do I find? The Karen. She and her little rascals are sitting in my living room with their feet up on my coffee table enjoying a movie while eating snacks and dropping all the crumbs on the rug. Me, what the hell is going on here? Karen gets up all of a sudden, her bucket of popcorn falling all on the ground, and I am literally shaking in rage at the mess. Karen, what? Who are you? Me, I'm the owner of this house. It is at this point that Karen recognizes me, and instead of apologizing, she sneers at me before looking down at the fallen popcorn. Karen, do you have no basic manners? Who shouts like that at their guests? Look at what you did to my food. Me? Guests? I don't even know you. Karen, we are new in this neighborhood. Maybe that's why. Me, I don't care. Why are you in my house? The Karen is pissed that I interrupted her, but I could care less. Karen, what kind of hospitality? Me, why are you in my house? Seriously, Karen. And then Karen answered, God, kids these days are so impatient. Well, I am here because I was told that people here keep their door unlocked so others can walk in whenever they want. My house is still being set up, but my kids wanted to see a movie, so I thought of visiting your house because I saw the big TV you had from the window. Me, are you an idiot? And I said this with the utmost genuineness because what the hell? Karen, mind your words or I will. Me, you think you can just walk up to anyone's house just because they keep their door unlocked? Karen, oh please, you have others coming in your house all the time. I have seen it. Me, well that's because I know those people. Karen, I'm in your neighborhood, so you're supposed to know me too. Just say that you're a misogynistic piece of crap. No need to make excuses for your vile words and disgusting actions. Come on, brats names. I don't want to stay in this discriminating man's house anymore. And they leave like that with the movie playing and the snacks scattered after accusing me of being the bad person. I rant about all of this to my neighbor that night and he advised me to now lock my door but keep the spare key under the doorway mat or something and tell my friends about the location of the key. So I did just that and tried to put this past me. Another 2 weeks passed by in almost silence. I say almost because the days when I forgot to lock my door, the Karen would come inside my house and take things like sugar or cocoa powder before leaving quickly. The only reason I even knew it was happening because she would leave things in the wrong place or even spill while taking them. I was quickly reaching my limit and decided to give myself a nice day off to distress myself. I made sure to lock the door and told my friends not to disturb me today, some of whom even offered to leave breads for me outside my door, and I had never felt more grateful. I was enjoying my jacuzzi when I heard the front door open. I thought maybe I had missed informing one of my friends about my schedule for today and hence decided to call out to them. Me? Hey! No response, so I get up to reach for my bathrobe when Karen walks inside my bathroom with a toaster and a big loaf of bread in her hands. Karen, oh my god, what are you trying to do? Me, what am I? And I quickly sit back down in my tub because this woman is not even turning around. What are you doing in my house, Karen? Karen, you called out to... Oh, this is what you had planned all along, huh? Me, what? Karen, I'm calling the police. And she goes out to do exactly that while I am sitting in my tub wondering what the hell she was talking about. After a few moments of shock, I hear this Karen again coming inside, and this time she has police behind her. Apparently, I was in shock for like 5 minutes and the police were patrolling nearby. Karen, this man is trying to assault me. The police urged the woman to get out and let me make myself proper before asking me to accompany them to the living room. Me, I'm not going anywhere near that woman. She broke into my house and took my things without permission and then called you all when I was just trying to have a bath in peace. Karen, he called out to me to come inside the bathroom when he was like this. Officer, I know how this man is. He is a misogynist who looks down on women and I'm sure he wanted to take advantage of me. Before I even try to debunk this Karen's claims, because wow, she is spewing some serious nonsense, the officer intervenes. Officer, ma'am, I want you to think your words carefully, considering you are the one who came inside his house without his permission. Karen, shocked because she did not expect to be called out. Oh, of course. People come into this house all the time. Officer, ma'am, thanks to our efforts and the honesty of the residents, this neighborhood is safe enough to keep your doors unlocked. But it's also common sense that one should not go inside the house of somebody they are not acquainted with. Turning to me, sir, can you please tell me your side of the story? So I told this officer about how this Karen had first broken into my house and why I started keeping my doors locked. Officer turning to Karen, is that what this man is saying, right, ma'am? Karen, yes, but officer... Turning to me, sir, you may continue your story. I continued to tell him about today and the text that I sent out and even that the bread she was holding probably was a gift and the toaster was definitely mine. The Karen is now clearly angry and yelling at the officer for taking my side. But when the officer did not budge, they started taking her outside. And by the way, ripe stars, I had to censor a lot of information there because it would identify the OP and I don't really want to dox him on the internet. Anyway, I finally got out and made myself presentable before following the police outside. They asked me if I wanted to press charges and oh boy, did I say yes. This Karen's shouting attracted other neighbors who watched as she was dragged away like a whining toddler. She did not get jail time, but she got fined and was made to do community work with a community who knew of her actions and kept taunting her. But the best part of all this was that not even a week later she was moving away with her kids and no one in the neighborhood came to bid her goodbye. And the next one is titled, It is my property. Not me, thankfully, but a good friend. He had come into some money, so after setting aside a college fund for his kids, he is divorced, he decided to buy himself a toy in the form of a new Tesla SUV. Now, even though there is charging stations popping up everywhere, he decided to install a charging station in his garage so he would not have to be going all over the place. Got the station installed, got his car, and life went on. Enter one of his neighbors who we will call, I don't know, maybe Karen. Karen and her hubby had an older model Tesla and like most people, they used the public chargers for their car. One day my friend came home to find Karen angrily trying to open his garage door. When he somewhat politely asked what the hell she was doing, she told him she needed to use the public charging station for her car and that he was illegally blocking her access by keeping his garage door locked. When he told her that the charger was his personal one, she angrily rebuked him by saying that all Tesla chargers were public property and that he was breaking the law by blocking his. I actually checked on this and a home Tesla charging station only costs a few grand. He politely told her to F off, put his car in the garage and close the door. A little while later there was a knock on the door and he opened it to find a cop with a smug-looking Karen standing behind him. The cop explained that he was responding to a blocking access to public property complaint. It took him a second, but when he took the cop, who seemed embarrassed to be there, to his garage, showed him his car and the charger, showed him the invoice for the charging station. The cop nodded, went outside, had a conversation with Karen who screeched something unintelligible, and this is the end of the story, right? Well, one day my friend comes home to find his garage door half bashed in to the point that he can't open the damn thing. He then does what any normal person would. He looked at the security feed from the cameras he had for his house, and there in HD was Karen psychotically hammering at his garage door with a small sledgehammer. He calls the cops and Karen is hauled out of her home and is facing charges of attempted break and enter and damaging private property. Oh, and by the way, my friend is suing her for damages to his home. And this was all just to plug in her damn car. And the next one is titled Airplane Seat. So this happened when I was returning from my annual 2-week active duty in the Navy Reserves. I had my DoD return flight from my 2-week activity duty from New Orleans to San Antonio. If you know anything about the military, they book your flights to and from active duty sites always in coach unless you are an officer, and I was not. I checked in at the flight desk and then again at the terminal to ensure I had my reserved seat on the flight home. They finally call my boarding section and I drag myself and my backpack onto the plane. I find my seat and there is a Karen sitting in it. Wow. Okay, I inform her she is in a seat assigned to me and she insists that she is not. The flight attendant is called and she looks at my boarding pass and this lady's flight ticket, which is no boarding pass. FA tells me to step to the front of the plane and she will sort it out after everyone has boarded. I was pissed by compliant. I was afraid that I would be bumped for a later flight, which is not good. Everyone gets boarded and there's no seats in coach. Absolutely none. But there is a vacant seat in first class. And so that's where the FA sits me, in first class next to a very nice professional golfer. I get free alcohol, a great meal, and a good conversation because EP did not go through the official check-in and get a boarding pass. The FA even called me by my last name. Miss T, may I get you another drink? Miss T, would you like a pillow? Miss T, how is your meal? Oh, it was awesome. And the next one is titled Karen Stalker is Crazy. For some context, I was a 22-year-old female, though I do have a baby face and I could pass for 16 or 17 years old easily. I had a Yamaha motorbike 125cc, meaning it could easily go 70 miles per hour. My dad raced motocross and I've been riding bikes my whole life. He taught me all the road rules and safety do's and don'ts. So one day I am riding to visit my uncle who lived in the middle of nowhere and the roads there are all 50 miles per hour and have extreme bends, and on each side of the road is a massive ditch. I'm going 55 miles per hour, only slowing when the bends are bad. Cue a Karen with 3 kids all under 10 in the back tailing me, and I mean tailing within a couple feet to the back of my bike. I speed up to ignore her and she pulls her minivan to the side of me and tries to force me to the edge of the road, which is just a ditch. I slowly let her pass, my heart racing, as I barely kept my bike upright. You would think this is where it ends, right? Nope. I was maybe a few miles from my uncle's at this point and I have to go through a village high street to get there. As I am going through, I see Karen, her minivan is blocking the street and she is stood with her door open in the road. Her arms are out as she tries to stop me and force me off the road. I just managed to get past her as onlookers were yelling at her to stop. I go the last few streets to my uncle's and stop down the road, parking my bike and taking my helmet off. With a screech, Karen's minivan pulls up in front of me and she runs for me screaming. "What the hell is wrong with you? Don't you know how to drive?" When I just stare at her, she screeches again. "Only cars can drive in the road. Bikes have to drive on the side or the pavement." Yeah, nope, that's so wrong. That thing cannot go fast enough to be in the road. You should have pulled over when I told you to. I'm gonna report you. At this point, I see my uncle coming outside, his eyes shifting between the Karen and me. Now, something to know about my uncle and me is that we are crazy close, both pranksters. Also, my uncle is 6 foot and not a small man, so without skipping a beat, I put on a fake sad face and run to him, screaming in a terrified voice. "Daddy, this lady tried to grab me off my bike and followed me home." Where I live, you can get a provisional license before 18, meaning I could have been a minor. Trying not to laugh, my uncle puffs up his chest and yells out at the woman who had run after me and was now behind us. "You followed my little girl home? She is just a kid." Karen's face went white and I swear she looked like she had crapped herself as she tried to defend herself only for my uncle to interrupt her. As loud as he could, making sure every nosy neighbor had come out, he screams, "What are you, some kind of pervert?" "I'm calling the cops." Without blinking, Karen runs for her car, speeding off with 3 confused-looking kids in the back. As soon as Karen was out of view, I told my uncle what happened and we both laughed as we went inside to see my aunt laughing as she had watched the whole thing through the window. Update: okay, so just for clarification, I did not have a camera as this was years ago when they costed a lot more than now. And yes, I could have pulled over and called the police, but I was on the bike and my phone was in my backpack, so I would have had to stop, get my bag off and grab it. And if you have used bike gloves, you know it's not possible to use a phone with them. I had no intention of stopping, spending all that time and giving her the opportunity to run for me. As for the police afterwards, I was just happy that she had effed off. And the next one is titled Karen and the Bride. First of all, a little background. I'm from a country where the bride chooses a few dresses, some traditional dresses and a modern white wedding dress. We usually have the bride change every once in a while everyone cheers for her and she gets pictures and videos taken of her by her photographer and videographer. Now Karen, who was the bride's cousin and had insight on the dresses the bride chose, she has a room for her preparation similar to the bride's and she got herself a bridesmaid in someone else's wedding. She wore matching clothes to the bride's and some even the same dress but better quality and extra jewelry. She did not stop at this though, but in our weddings when the bride comes out of the dressing room, she has her bridesmaid walk her to the lounge where the wedding is taking place and everything celebrates. Her dresses, her looks and basically she is the main center of attention. Karen comes out each time with her own bridesmaid and walks side by side with the bride who looked very uncomfortable. And she just shows off and tries to get the videographer to focus on her and the photographer to take pictures of her with the bride's mother and with the bride. When asked why she's doing this, Karen answers, "Because I'm a bride too. I got married 5 months ago, I'm still a bride and this is my day as much as it is hers." I wish someone kicked her out, but it is a bad omen to kick a relative from your wedding in our culture, so she just continued her BS until time came for the white wedding dress, where she surprisingly did not wear one and chose to wear a normal wedding guest dress. And the next one is a little bonus revenge story and it is titled Cause Drama and Try to Ruin My Reputation Over Facebook. Now everyone knows your secret. This is going to be long, but I've been dying to tell this story. It is about how I put a narcissistic woman in her place after being accused of stealing on Facebook. A few years ago I was involved in one of those swap and sell groups on Facebook. It was specifically for stay-at-home moms and mostly centered around trading and selling clothing, toys, etc. It was an awesome resource because you could get things for your children at a very low price and often make new friends in the process. There was one woman, however, that made the swap and sell group an unpleasant place. We will call her Kathy or Kathy, I'm not sure. In person, all she ever talked about was herself, specifically about how great she was, and she did the same for her kids. She would also slip little hints in about how you or your children were inferior in some way. For example, she would say things like, "Oh, your child's soccer team came in 3rd place last season? My son's team came 1st, but that's not very surprising considering how good he is. I must have done a great job raising him, and it's a shame that others cannot do the same with their children." She really would say things like that. In hindsight, she was a narcissist. I'm not just saying that, I am pretty sure she could be diagnosed. I just did the best I could to avoid her if I saw her in the next aisle of a store. One day though, she saw me with my infant son. He was crying, so she came over and said, "Oh, let me hold him. I can get him to calm down." It was infuriating. Almost everyone hated her. But Kathy really took it to the next level when it came to the swap and sell. She would be the first in line to buy something, only to demand a lower price upon inspection. "These clothes look dirtier than what I saw in the picture. I will only pay half." She did this crap all the time, and if the seller didn't oblige, she posted a rant about how they screwed her over, never do business with them, yada yada yada. This sort of talk was technically against the rules of the swap and sell group, but Kathy was friends with the administrator, so nothing was ever done. The administrator was lazy anyway and rarely interacted with the group. Furthermore, Kathy had a few cronies that would send PMs to everyone in the group, bad-mouthing sellers who didn't accept Kathy's half-price crap.
It was borderline blackmail. I always felt some anxiety when I posted something for sale because I was afraid Kathy would claim it first and then pull her scam, which she did several times. She had Facebook hooked up to her phone, and since she sat at home and did nothing all day, she was fast to jump on items for sale. Oftentimes she would buy something and then it would appear for sale months later at a jacked up price. What made this all the more frustrating was the fact that she was a pastor's wife and had a good standing in the community. Nobody knew what a horrible person she was, and even though she was a toxic and selfish person who only cared about herself. I put up with this woman for 3 years and then one day I had enough. I listed a toy for sale. It needed 2 AA batteries to work. Knowing this, I purchased a new pack of batteries and put them in the toy. I tested it, it worked. I said that batteries were included in my listing, everything seemed to be in order, and within 2 minutes Kathy jumped in and said she wanted it. She obviously saw it pop up on her phone while she was lounging around at home. The rules said I had to offer it because it was first come first serve and I could not skip over buyers. So, with a heavy heart, I set up a time to bring it to Kathy's house. She refused to meet me halfway or come to my home as was her custom, so I dropped off the toy when I was in town running errands the next day. Kathy didn't try to pull the usual "it looks dirtier than the picture" scam, so that was nice. She asked if the batteries were included and I said yes. I received payment and went about my day. Kathy was playing fair. About damn time. However, when I got home, I had 20+ notifications on Facebook. Kathy had tagged me in a post. Oh, this couldn't be good. In her post, she claimed that there were no batteries. She posted a picture of the empty battery slots and shamed me for shady sales tactics, gave a little sob story about her chubby 13-year-old soccer star was upset that he couldn't play with it, and demanded her money back. On top of this crap storm, one of my friends PM'd me saying that people were receiving messages from Kathy's cronies about how selfish and shady I was. That evil woman. I had never ever been more pissed and hurt in my life. I was done putting up with this woman's crap. I responded with a rather lengthy message calling her out on her scams in the past. I said she was a liar for removing the batteries and that she should be ashamed of herself for behaving in such a manner when she was a pastor's wife. Many people liked my comment and I knew that the crap was about to hit the fan, but I didn't care anymore. When I logged into Facebook the next day, I had a ton of notifications and messages. My stomach dropped. I skimmed through the messages first. Some were positive and thanking me for calling Kathy out. Some, however, were negative, from Kathy's cronies about what a rude person I was to say those things about her. As for the notifications, most of them stemmed from a single post that had been stickied by the administrator in the Swap and Sell group. Apparently she overcame her laziness just long enough to publicly humiliate me. The post said that thieves, yes, thieves, were not tolerated in the group and then went on to mention me by name. This was no small thing, as there were many women involved in this group and we were in a small Midwestern town where word traveled fast. My reputation as a mother was being attacked, and the post went on to say that rather than banning me, I had the opportunity to apologize and refund the money I owed. The first comment to the post was from Kathy. She said something that no doubt she had been dying to say for a long time. It went something like this. "OP, you have stolen money from me and tried to blame your past actions on me as well. And yet in the face of your accusations, I have been patient and kind. This peace comes from the Lord. If you would only accept him as your savior, you would feel the same peace. If nothing else, this whole situation just proves that I'm better than you." Over 20 people liked the comment. Oh my god, this had to stop. Kathy the narcissist was turning the tables and accusing me of actions which were actually hers, an actual case of projection. The time for vengeance had come. Now onto the revenge. This requires a bit of explaining. You see, Kathy had a secret, one that I stumbled upon by accident several years prior while reading the local newspaper while doing errands in the next town over. In one small corner regarding court happenings, there was a column about a man who had killed his friend while high on bath salts. And damn guys, I gotta say, I haven't heard about those in quite a while. Anyway, I don't remember the exact details of the crime, nor did I know what the nature of the court proceedings were, but thanks to the column I did know that this man had been found mentally unfit to stand trial and sent to the state mental hospital, and I did know the names of his parents who were present at the hearing. The parents, strangely enough, had the exact same names as Kathy and her husband. I did some googling and discovered that this man was Kathy's oldest son. Kathy never mentioned having another son for obvious reasons. This crime happened when Kathy and her family were living in this other town. Soon after her son was sent to the mental ward, Kathy and her husband moved away to my town. I knew that she had lived elsewhere before joining the swap and sell, but I didn't know that she had moved to distance herself and her husband from their dark secret. This was my short and sweet response to Kathy's comment. I still remember it word for word. Kathy, you have asked me to apologize for actions that were yours, and then have the audacity to say that you're better than me. But what's funny, Kathy, is that the son you raised turned out to be a lunatic murderer. I will always be better than you. And I posted a link to the old news article. I did not stick around to watch everything go down as I was sick of the drama. I removed myself from the group and went about my day. The aftermath: I received a phone call from a close friend in the evening and I learned what had happened. After I posted the link to the article about Kathy's son, the comment section absolutely blew up. Kathy and her cronies posted several comments where the group administrator was tagged, demanding that my comment be deleted. My friend said that there were several posts like this and they started to sound pretty desperate near the end. The lazy administrator, of course, was slow to respond. Kathy even said something about driving to the administrator's house since she was not returning her phone calls. After a couple of hours, the whole swap and sell group was deleted, but the damage was done. As for what happened to Kathy, I never had the chance to find out as she deleted her Facebook. I saw her in the grocery store a few weeks later, but she just flipped me off and walked the other way. My friends and I found a new swap and sell group. It gets bigger every day, but Kathy is not a part of it.
And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, I want to ask you for a favor. If you have watched until here, please check out my new channel called The Readers, where I and other voice actors post daily stories that you will very much enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow.